The bottom line is we need to come out of this pandemic strong, and I realized that yesterday when I was shooting my first video outside for ages, like way more than a year. Been stuck indoors doing these indoors videos for like non-stop every single day, 7 days a week, always in front of the green screen, always doing these indoor videos. And then yesterday it was like, finally, right, let's go out there, let's go to Sneaker Street, one of the coolest streets in Tokyo that's just full of DS sneaker shops, really amazing brands. I mean, everything from like the high-end Supreme stuff all the way down to these little second-hand stores with the DS sneakers that have been trading in and stuff like that. It's just a really, really cool street. But the thing I took away from it, the one thing I took away from it was it's just great to be back out there, back out in society, back out in life, back out in the world, and actually, you know, engaging with things, sneakers in hand, speaking to people, seeing things like side by side. It was just a whole different experience, and so inspired me to get back out there and back into things and really focus on coming out of this pandemic and making sure, not just in terms of sneakers, but in terms of everything, that we come out strong and get right back to where we were, if not more than where we were. So that was the focus of yesterday's video. I'm going to talk a little bit in the start of this video about what we were doing yesterday, and then we'll get into those 5 dunks that are dropping all in a line on April the 16th. So that's packed in today's video, coming up with those 5 dunks lows that I was talking about. There's a Michigan. I'm not even going to get through all of the names. I'll just get into the video and we'll get to that after this. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker channel days. Manichi Apsuno Day, Manichi Media Design. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I'm bringing content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today, what's in the spotlight are 5 dunks. And it feels weird to me that I would do one video for each of these dunks when they all drop on April the 16th. And they're all kind of tied together in a wonder for me. Therefore, this is just going to be one big video. There's the Photon Dust. There's 4 of them are lows, and there's one high, which is the sulfur, the dark sulfur is the Photon Dust. There's a team green and a green glow, and then there's the Michigans as well. So there's 5 dunks, 1 high, 4 lows that we're going to get to in the second half of this video. But first I want to talk about yesterday's trip down Sneaker Street, which is just a great place to be. Hopefully you guys have seen that video and got a taste for what it's like to be sneaker shopping here in Japan. But long-term viewers, you know, people who've watched my channel for a long time, I hope you picked up on that video yesterday and realized that I was talking about the Bread 4s. Now, if you remember very clearly, almost 2 years ago in April 2019 when the Bread 4s dropped, that was my first ever pair of Jordan sneakers for a whole slew of reasons to do with growing up in council housing and stuff like that. So government housing, and there's you know, you can see the video about why I had never owned a Jordan before, but those Bread 4s were the first Jordans I went for, and it was a big deal to the channel, big deal to me choosing the right first Jordan sneaker. And I got them on Sneakers, but I also hit them up on another website, I can't remember which one it was, and ended up with 2 pairs. So I sat on the second pair, and I'd always planned to sell them on. Managed to do that yesterday at Worm, and also with them the Blazer Sakai's that I had, the mids for those as well, which were a half size too small to me. And I talked in tons of videos about those 2 shoes and how I planned to move them on, thinking about putting them onto StockX, you know, or to sell them in the local community to Tokyo here. And what I ended up doing was going around yesterday and seeing what they would give me for them. Now, I could have got round about $700 for the 2 shoes together, the Bread 4s and the Sakai Blazer mids, around about $700 or 70,000 yen in local currency for those shoes if I sold them on StockX, assuming that they were, you know, going at the sort of standard ask price that's their price right now. So $700, 70,000 yen. What I sold them for in Worm was $50,000 or 500 yen. So that's a 200 yen loss, not 200 yen loss, $200 loss, which seems a lot. But first you have to cut out about half of that because I don't have the hassle of sending them or the commission that you pay to StockX or anything like that. So, you know, I probably would have, you know, money in pocket being about 60,000 yen at StockX. But even then, 10,000 yen, I take a hit on that. I still think it's really important to pump money back into the local sneaker scene wherever you are. So wherever you guys are out there, you know, remember to do that. You can get a bigger deal or a better deal or whatever at bigger places or places online and stuff like that. But you remember you have to support your local sneaker community. And by doing that, you're kind of doing yourself a favor because they'll take that money, pump it into their store, and then you've got better shoes nearby. So it makes sense for both sides, yourself and the local community, if you do that. So yesterday the Bread 4s and the Sakai Blazer mids went back. They went on in their journey to Worm. Great store in Tokyo. Again, you'll see that in yesterday's video, so definitely check that out. You know, I paid probably about 40,000 yen for them, so made about 10,000 yen or $100 in profit. But it wasn't really about the profit. It was about being able to unbox great shoes for you guys out there. So so that's a little bit of background to that yesterday. Long-term viewers who are, you know, I've talked endlessly about what I'm going to do with those Bread 4s and the Sakai Blazers. So they've gone, they're out the door, they're out of the collection now. I still do have my own, you know, pair of beaters, my own pair of Bread 4s. It's not like they were my only pair that I still use and wear very rarely, but I still do have that pair, so it's not like, you know, I don't have them left in the old collection. So so that's the update on yesterday's video. Hopefully you saw the video yesterday and you understand what I'm talking about right now, but we need to get into the other thing that this video is about, which is those 5 dunks that are coming around the corner on April the 16th. And one of the big things to talk about is the fact that we've got women's all over the place, because in a recent video, I think it was the Pastel Easter one, I asked you guys out there to tell me about women's dunks because I hadn't seen them before. People were telling me in the comments down below, there's tons of them, and I'm like, really? But what I couldn't find out in the comments down below was why they're women's, whether or not it's something to do with the physical construction of the shoe with like a higher arch, or whether it's just, you know, just random at Nike. They just say, you know what, we'll call this one a women's shoe. And then in these 5 dunks today, there's a bunch of them that are women's. I think it could be as many as 4. So you've got the Michigans, and there's one thing that I want to really point out in the Michigans, hopefully I'm zooming in on it right here, is that right round about the midfoot, there's a great piece of stitching, yellow stitching that runs through that. I think it's deep blue. I don't think it's black, but if I'm wrong in that, you can see it in the green screen anyway. But there's a bit of yellow stitching that runs through that right on the midfoot that I just totally dig. I love little details like that that they haven't tried too hard to kind of hide or change the color on. I think it makes it somehow more authentic. And the main thing about those Michigans is it's the only shoe in all of these 5 shoes that's more than 2 colors. All the other shoes are just 2 colors, with white being one of them and then a second color. But in the case of these guys, the Michigans, you've got that white midsole in there, but up high you've got that yellow, and I'm pretty sure it's dark blue and not black. But if I've got that wrong, please accept my apologies on that. And then looking at the other shoes, you've got 2 green ones. There's one that sometimes gets called team green or deep green or dark green. I've seen it in a lot of different names, but very few images for it, very few official images for it. That's why it's kind of the pair, whereas all the rest of them are the lateral side of one shoe. But then that's one of the deeper green. But then there's another shoe which is the another green's green glow, I think is what it's called. It's a much lighter green on that. But again, both shoes, the base is white with green on top, and that's it, just very two-tone. And remember, again, these are Dunk Lows. They're not Dunk Low Pros or SB Dunk Lows or whatever. They're just straight up Dunk Lows. And then the last of the 4 lows that we're looking at is it Photon Dust, I think it's called, which is very, very white with very light grey on it. So it's almost a completely triple white sneaker, but there's just enough grey in those hits. But again, 2 tones, 2 colors on that sneaker. And then the one high that's coming out on April the 16th is that beautiful sulfur, dark sulfur. I think it's a really nice shoe, to be honest. I'm really taken by this, but again, it's still basically a 2-tone sneaker with the white base, and then on top of that, that sulfur. It doesn't seem that dark when it comes to sulfur. I think they could have gone a lot darker. Maybe they can just straight up call these sulfur without the dark in there, but that's just my personal perspective. So those 5 shoes coming along in a big line on April the 16th, maybe for 2 reasons. One is I've seen these drop dates on mostly on Sole Supplier, but I did see a couple places on like Sneaker News saying April 16th. So I'm pretty sure out there in the wider world that's happening. But 2, here in Japan, I have not seen these in my 2 main sources, which is Sneakers app, where they haven't been listed yet, and Sneaker Dunk, which is a website I go to a lot, and I haven't seen any of these 5 appearing on either of those sources of information. So maybe in the wider world it's April the 16th, I'm not sure about here in Tokyo, Japan. So so that's kind of my little 2-part video today, looking back to yesterday and just getting out there and getting sneakers in hand and speaking to people in sneaker shops and speaking to people out there in the street and asking their opinion, and just being able to see shoes side by side and being able to you know, look at, there was it was the Jordan 6 Travis Scotts with the little pocket right up high on the ankle, and being able to look at them in comparison to other Jordan 6s was great, you know, really highlighted the day. So and I'm shooting this video on the night of the day that I went out and shot that video in the street. So so already I've got that buzz back, you know, that post-pandemic buzz for getting out there and doing sneaker sneaker shopping again in the flesh, and already planning different ways to go out there, and hopefully already got the clearance from Worm and another place, Kickslab, to go in and shoot videos. So hopefully I'll be able to shoot video in there for you guys, if they'll turn off their sound system so I don't get done for copyright, if you know what I mean. So with that being said, it's time to wrap up this video. Hopefully you like that two-part thing about looking back to yesterday and then those 5 dunks that are coming down the line on on April the 16th. All that's left for me to do is just to finish up this video. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and remind you to come out of this pandemic strong, but also that I do this every single day, and that means you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.